Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're so glad to have you listening. I'm Lynette Kittle, and today's topic is When You Feel Like Giving Up in Prayer. We'll be right back after a brief message from our sponsor. When You Feel Like Giving Up in Prayer. Written and read by Lynette Kittle. Pray continually. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Have you ever faced a situation that looked hopeless, like things just weren't going to change or work out, yet against all the odds you kept praying? Despite the critics and obstacles faced, did you believe the impossible to happen? Let's face it, it's easy to get tired, weary, and worn out praying for the same situation and people to change, to keep praying past discouragement, hopelessness, and the reality of what is happening. Most of us have heard the stories of people praying the same prayers over decades. It's true, though, that Galatians 6:9 encourages us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." As well, the enemy of our soul is at work telling us that our prayers are misdirected and powerless, and to convince us to stop praying altogether. But the truth is, more so than most of us, He knows our prayers move the heart of God to accomplish His will on earth. He knows our prayers are powerful, and is why He goes to great lengths to thwart them by tripping us up and urging us to believe they are to no avail. Still, 1 Corinthians 13:8 reminds us that love never fails, and following is a true story of just that, a real-life example of not giving up and reaping a harvest. In hearing of a dear friend's daughter and son-in-law separating, God put it on our family's hearts to pray a simple prayer for them. Dear God, please don't let them get divorced. It's not that we discussed how to pray or what to say. It just came out of our mouths in a passionate, heartfelt way and continued to be our prayer for over a decade. While our friend was still living, we would hear periodical updates, which at the time didn't sound promising, yet we kept praying our simple prayer. We continued praying, not knowing what was happening in their marriage. Although somewhat separated from the situation after the passing of our friend, we kept praying for her daughter's marriage, even though we didn't have any updated, inside information of what was happening in their lives, which, looking back, worked to help keep us from backing down on our prayer. Not until over a decade later, through listening to an online interview with her husband, did we finally discover what had taken place all those years we were praying. As he told the listeners, for almost 12 years they were separated, during which time he was dating, she was not. During all those years they didn't divorce. For most of the time they talked every day and remained best friends until the end of their separation, where they were at odds and not speaking. Then one day out in public, just like in a movie, he pulled up beside her car in his SUV, not realizing it was her. Seeing her through her vehicle's sunroof, this gorgeous girl talking so animatedly and endearingly. Seeing her that moment in a new light, his heart was moved by her beauty, and he realized it was her, and the rest is history. They began dating again and are now reunited as a couple, as a family, spared from divorce. In John 12:46, Jesus explained that, "I have come into the world as a light, so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness." In hearing our friend's story, my heart leaped, knowing the new light he saw his wife in came from God, answering our over a decade of prayer. If you're praying for someone and not seeing progress, don't give up. Keep praying. God is at work in their hearts. and it often takes time. Not that we're taking credit for their marriage being saved. That belongs to God. But we believe God moved us to pray for them in the way we did. We also believe He listened, heard our prayers, and answered us. Psalm 66:19 assures us, "But God has surely listened and has heard my prayer." Would they still be married if we hadn't prayed that prayer? In our hearts, we believe God urged us to pray for His will to be done in their situation, and we believe it was. Intersecting faith and life. Are there prayers God has put on your heart years ago? If so, have you felt discouraged and tempted to give up? If so, ask God to renew you and strengthen you to keep praying. Further reading, How to Hang On in Prayer. How to Push Through the Weariness of Prayer.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
This is my skyship, Dreamer. My cargo is stories, and our destination, dreams.
With Abide Sleep Stories for Kids, you can help your children fall asleep fast and learn about God. To find these kids' bedtime stories, go to lifeaudio.com or search your favorite podcast app for Abide Stories for Kids. You can also download the Abide app for more biblical meditations at abide.com.